you go. You're a host here. Okay. So we'll get started here with Hamelech. Hamelech Yoshe. Al Kiseram Benisa Shochena Marom Vekadosh Shemo Ay la 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 Ay la 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 V'chatur Ranim Tzadik V'chatur Renu Tzadikim Baronai L'sharim Nabatahila V'fi Sharim Tidroma Ay la 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 Udivrei Tzadikim Tiparach Uvilshon Hasidim Titkadash Uger Kiddushim Tit Allah Umakalor Utamachabit Israel Berinai Kaher Shem Hamakin Vechol Dorador Shekin Chol Poitzerim Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Lodod lehalel, leshabech le'afer, l'ramim lehader, le'varech olalecho chales, al-trol divrei shirot betishbechot, David ben Yishai avdecha meshichecha. I invite you to rise as you are able for Yishtabach. Yishtabach shemcha ve'ad malkeinu. For it is fitting, Adonai, God and our ancestors, to sing songs and praise to you, to ascribe strength and sovereignty, holiness and eternity to you, to praise and exalt you, to thank and bless you now, forever. El העולמות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך העולמים. Turn to page 70, the bottom half of the page. יתגדל ויתגדל שמי רבם ועל יברך ירצה Ay la Yamlich Malchute Bechayelcho U'Be'omecho U'Chayelcho Bet Yisrael V'Hara U'Bizman Karev V'Ramein Amen Yesh Mirama Ve'Rav Ve'Olam U'Le'Anai Amaya Yibarach ve'yishtabach v'yitahar yitrumam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitaleh v'yitalav shemei nekudesha v'richu le'ela u'le'ela min kol echata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damin bi'olama v'imavru Amen. Barechu et Adonai. Amen. Baruch Adonai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer Orei Choshen Oseh Shalom Uborei Atako Or Olam Beotzar Chaim Orod Me'ofer Amar Vayehi. You may be seated. Turn to page 72. Please join me in English. With kindness you illumine the earth and all who dwell on it. In your goodness you renew creation day after day. How varied are your works, Adonai, all fashioned with wisdom. The world in its entirety is your dominion. You alone ruled on high from the very beginning. Praised, glorified, and exalted since earliest time. God of the universe, with your great kindness, have compassion on us. Master of our strength, protecting fortress, redeeming shield, be our stronghold.
Almighty, blessed Creator,
You dwell on earth, the firmament and goodly heavens are illuminated with your justice, kindness, and light. They make your name an object of praise, quietly, resolutely, soulfully, all tell the unified voice of your wise, excellent, and zealous care. Lord, give you praise, Adonai, our God, for the wondrous works of your hands, and for the radiant lights that you fashioned, always before you. Yiparach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach v'asei yadecha, v'al shasita, Yiparuch hasela. We turn to page 75. Kulam ahurim, kulam birurim, kulam giburim, kulam usim, ve'imarion yitzchonah. וכולם מודחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומריעים ומריצים ומקישים וממליכים את שם האלוהים הגדול הגיבור הנורא, קדוש הוא, וכולם מקבלים עליהם ומלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להגיש אותה בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה, ובנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד, עונים ביראה ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. יוחנין וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מנסים ומצרפים ומצב משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני מכל אל ברוך חי וקיים זמיר דמג'ש ברוך ישמיעו. המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית, כאמור לעושה אורים גדולים כלעולם חסדו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולם לברוך, ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. Turn to page 76 and look at that silently discover the Hava Rabbah of Chano Adonai Eloheinu Elad Gdolah Sheva. Now in the middle of the page, there is a translation for this, the last 4 lines of the transliteration. וההבננו בתורתך ודבקנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבינו ליאהבה וליראה את שמך וההבננו בתורתך ודבקנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבינו ליאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול הנורא בצענו נגילה 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 ונשמחה בישועתך עלינו שלום אלוקינו בארץ ובכינו כמוני ארצנו אלוהי ישועת לנו וחרת מכולם בלשון ותנתנו לשמך ולא כסר לעינינו להודות לך ויחד לך Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu Yisrael,
Yahava.
page 77. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובנפשך ובמאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובחומך, וקשרתם מאות על ידיך, והיו לטובתו בין עיניך, ובטחתם על מזוז ביתך, ובישמעך והיה. We'll continue silently. There's plenty of interesting commentary on these pages. Feel free to use that if the words of the Shema are not meaningful.
That is the funniest sight.
Constant, well-founded, and enduring, righteous and trustworthy, beloved and cherished, desirable and pleasing, well inspiring and majestic, well ordered and established, good and beautiful, and so incumbent upon us forever. L'Ador Kayam, U'Shemo Kayam, V'Chisonacho, U'Malchuto V'Emunato Le'ad Hayamet. We continue silently on page 78.
Did you say 78?
78, we're in the middle of 78, yeah.
Okay.
Truly you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors, our sovereignness, our ancestors sovereign, our Redeemer, and the Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Creator, and the rock of our deliverance, our Redeemer and help. So you are known throughout time, for there is no God but you. Odeinu Matzilenu Me'olam Shemecha, Ein Elohim Zulatecha. So we'll turn now to page 79. Actually, no, I apologize. We will turn to page 80. Tehilot el Elyon Baruch Hu U'Megorach Moshe U'Miriam U'Bnei Yisrael Lechanu Shira V'Simcha Rabah V'Yamaru Chulam Mi Kamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi Kamocha Nedad HaKodesh Norati Lo Sefer Ele Shira Chadasha Shebechol Yolim L'Shimcha Asafat Hayam Yachad Kulam Oduvim Lihu V'Yameru Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed. I invite you to rise as you are able, as we prepare for the Amidah, which will begin on the next page. And we will be doing an abbreviated Amidah, some highlights, so to speak. Guys, I don't have any, I've been doing this service and no one's been able to see me. That's not necessarily a good thing. All right. Okay. To Yisrael, Kuma b'Yezrat Yisrael, Uftechenu Mecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael, Go'aleinu, Adonai Tzavot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagita Yevatecha, page 81. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotinu V'Imotzeinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Ahel Agadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Bekonei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot B'imahot U'mevih Goel Livnei B'neihem Leman Shemo Yahava Misod Chachamim Umonim Umilem Edad Mevinim Evtecha Fi B'tfilah U'tachnunim Lechalvot U'chanem B'nei Melech Malchei Melachim V'ronei Ha'amun. Okay, so we'll turn now to the following page. Page 82 for Zofreinu. Remember us for life, sovereign, who delights in life, and inscribe us in the book of life for your sake, God of life. Zofreinu l'chaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, l'chotveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, L'mancha Elohim Ha'im Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Kol Tzara Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Mitim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechaye Mitim Rachamim Rabim Sofech Cholim V'Zorfei Cholim U'Matir Asufim U'Mekayim T'nato L'Shinei Achar Michamoch U'Mido Melach Melech Mimid U'Chayeh U'Matzniach Yeshua Michamocha Avraham Zochei Yitzurah L'Chaim B'Rachamim V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chayot Mitim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye HaMeitim. Everyone together. Amen. Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yivtzion, L'dor v'dor. Hallelujah. V'yatah kadosh, kadosh Yisrael, kadosh Yoshem Tehilot, Yoshem Tehilot Yisrael. So at this point we have two Piyutim. There's 3 in the book, but we'll read only 2 of them. The first one, they're sort of bouncy tunes. They wake us up if we're flagging a little bit. So this one, Atahu Eloheinu Elna, God, please hear us. You are our God in heaven and on earth, powerful and revered, celebrated by multitudes. These are all acrostics, and they have nice bouncy tunes that we can enjoy. You can pick up the tune, please feel free to join. Elna, you may be seated if you'd like. Atahu Eloheinu b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Gibor Nara, Tagdol Merivah, Hotzach Yehi, V'tziva Nivrahu, Zivro Netzach, Chai Olamim, Tehorei Naim, Yoshev V'Senter, Gibro Yeshua, Lerusho Tzedakah, Ma'ateu Kinah, Neban Nikama, Sifro Yosher, Atzato Emunah, Puato Emet, Tzadik Yashar, Karov Karab Emet, Ram Minaseh, Shochei Shechachim, Tzoleretz, Avalima, Chai v'kayam, Nora u'marom v'kadosh. So you'll turn now to page 85. The second one. Now this, your part here, if you can sing the whole thing with me, that's awesome. At the very least, try to say by Yom Din and Bad Din, right? Today is the day of judgment, right? And we have faith, right, that God, when God judges us, will judge us with justice, right? Not on any kind of capricious whims, right? But according to our merit. All right, so we will turn now to page 86. I invite you to rise again as you are able for the Kedusha. ולכם ולחטאי קדושה כי אתה אלוהינו מלך נקדש את שמך בעולם בשם שמרגישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה, ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו, אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך אדוני מקומו, ונוקבך מלכנו, תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מכרחים אנחנו לך, מתי תמלוך בציון, וקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון, תקדש ותקדש, בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור הדור ולנצח נצחים, ויהננו תהיינה מלכותך כדרבה אמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך העולם אלוהיך ציון ודור הללויה לדור הדור נגידות לך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש לשבחך אלוהינו נתינו לאמוש לעולם ועד יהיה מלך גדול וקדוש אתה. So we'll turn, you may be seated as you are more comfortable. We will turn now to page 87, where we find the three special additions to the Amidah, which let's read them together here in English. Ubechen, Adonai, therefore, Adonai, our God, instill your awe in all you have made, and fear in you in all you have, so that all you have fashioned to fear you, all you have created bow in recognition, and all be bound together, carrying out your will wholeheartedly. For we know that true sovereignty is yours, power and strength are in your hands, and your name is to be revered beyond any of your creations. Uvechen, therefore, bestow honor to your people, Adonai. Praise to those who revere you, hope to those who seek you, recognition to those who await you, joy to your land, and gladness to your city. Simcha la'artzecha v'sason l'iriecha. May the light of David, your servant, dawn, and the lamp of your son of Jesse, your anointed, be kindled speedily in our day. Uvechen, therefore, the righteous, beholding this, will rejoice. The upright will be glad. The pious will celebrate with song. Evil will be silenced, and all wickedness will disappear like smoke when you remove the tyranny of arrogance from the earth. And I will continue in Hebrew now. ותמלוך אתה אדוני לעבדיך על כל מעשיך, בהר ציון משכן כבודך, בירושלים קודשך, ככתוב על ידי קודשך, ימלוך העולם אלוהי ציון ודור הללויה. קדוש אתה וזכור שמך, ואלוהי בלעדיך, ככתוב ויקרא אדוני צבאות במשפט, והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה, ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש. Amen. All right, so we will turn now to page 92 for Nina Malkenu. I invite you to rise. We'll open up the ark. And the way that it works is that we say this silently to ourselves, except for there's 8 or so in the middle that I will read and you'll repeat it. אבינו מלכנו אין לנו מלך אליך, אבינו מלכנו עשה עמנו למען שמך, אבינו מלכנו חדש עלינו שנה טובה, Avinu Malkeinu Batel Me'ameinu Kol B'Zirot Kashu. Avinu Malkeinu Batel Machshavot Shel Nezameinu. Avinu Malkeinu Haferet Zat Oivenu. Avinu Malkeinu Kale Kol Tsar Mastin Merenu. Avinu Malkeinu Kale Dever V'Cher V'Alu Shchi Nashchit B'Amon. Ushmad B'Devei V'Ritech. Avinu Malkeinu Salach U'Machal L'Chol V'Lavenu. Avinu Malkeinu Mecher V'Yaveh V'Shaim V'Chapotenu Me'neged Einecha. Avinu Malkeinu HaChazireinu B'Tshuva Shlema B'Panecha.
Avinu Malkeinu Chazirenu B'Tshuva Shlema B'Panecha.
Avinu Malkeinu Shalach Refuah Shlema L'Cholei Amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu Shalach Refuah Shlema L'Cholei Amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu Zochreinu B'Zikaron Tov L'Fanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu Zachreinu Zikaron Tov L'Fanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Parnasa V'Kala.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Parnasa V'Kala.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Zechuyot.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Zechuyot.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Selicha U'Mechila.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu
Avinu Malkeinu, cause our salvation to flourish soon. Avinu Malkeinu, cause your people Israel to be exalted. Avinu Malkeinu, raise up your anointed with strength. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, be kind and sympathize with us. Avinu Malkeinu, accept our prayer willingly and lovingly. Avinu Malkeinu, do not turn us away empty. Avinu Malkeinu, remember that we are but dust. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion for us, our infants and our children. Avinu Malkeinu, do this for the sake of those who were martyred for your holy name. Avinu Malkeinu, do this for the sake of those who were slaughtered for their exclusive devotion to you. Avinu Malkeinu, do this for the sake of those of us who went through fire and water to sanctify your holy name. Avinu Malkeinu, do this for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu. All right, you may be seated, and we're going to switch now to the Torah service. So happy, Miriam, that you're with us. This is Miriam who's joined us, and hello, Arthur. So we will now turn to whatever the appropriate page is, which figure that out.
Are we doing Kaddish?
Page, Chazik, great. What is going on? Stepping on myself. Okay, right, so this is the full Kaddish, right, I forgot. Full Kaddish is found on page 94. Yitgadali Gadashim Rabba, Yamadi Rakir Teviam Lech Malkute Bechayakona Bechon Chayede Hobek Israel Bagavan is not very Bimarua. Amen. Yesh Me Rabba Bemara. Yallah Me'almaya. Yitla Tiparach Yishtarach Tipar Vitramabit Nase. Yitadar Vitalidala Shemer Gudisha. Berichu Elam in Kobe Chatav Shir Tatush Bechata Benechamata Daniran Yomabimru. Amen.
Amen.
Tikabot Slotan Voton the Holy Israel Kudama Bon Vishmabimru. Amen. Yehe Shlam Rabban Mitchma. Chaim Alena Ko Israel Dimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom Imramav Yoseh Shalom. Alena Ko Israel Yoko Ishviti Elohim Evru. Amen. Now, we will turn to page 96. And Miriam is here to lead us in the Torah service.
Yes, the first, Shana Tova.
Shana Tova Lach.
And I want to give you a chance if you want to stretch a little bit, because it's a lot of sitting, holding a heavy book. So if you want to stretch, sitting, standing, whatever. And we're going to need 2 people at this moment. We're going to need someone in a few minutes to open the ark. Do we have any volunteers? It's just pulling the curtain across, is that right?
Yes, that's it.
Anybody who's good at pulling a curtain? Okay, thank you. And your name is?
Ruth.
Ruth. Oh, easy to remember, my sister's name. And do we have someone who can carry the Torah?
The Torah is super tiny.
Super tiny.
Super tiny
Who's
Torah
used to
songs.
carrying? Anybody have a grandchild, a great-grandchild they're used to carrying?
Doesn't weigh more than a tiny grandkid. So. Annette, are you willing to do it?
I don't have grandchildren. You can.
Oh, no, it's okay. Even
That was-
if you don't have a grandchild, it's completely fine.
The Torah
Would you
can
like
be
to carry the
grandchild.
Torah around? Are you comfortable with doing that?
Okay.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, so just before we get started, to get us in the mood, I have a little reading, and you have a line, and I can hear how well you're singing. I know you can do a line in English. Your words are how much. So when I point to you, I want to hear you say, how much? Can we try that one more time?
How much?
Excellent. Every morning, every day, we leave our houses, not knowing if it will be for the last time.
Until she's done.
And we decide what we take with us.
How
much
much?
we'll carry,
The next one.
how much integrity,
The one that says.
how
second,
much
second,
truth
fourth
telling,
service.
How much?
compassion in case someone along the way may need some,
How much?
arrogance,
How much?
anger,
How much?
humor,
How much?
willingness to change or be changed, to grow, to be grown,
How much?
faith and hope,
How much?
love and gratitude.
How much?
You pack these with your lunch and medications, your phone, your date book, your papers. Every day we gather what we think we need. Pick up what we love, all that we believe, put on our history, shoulder our experience and memory, take inventory of our blessings, and we walk toward the morning. Yishar Kochachem, you did that great. Okay. All right. Ein Kamocha, we're page 96. Ein Kamocha, Elohim Adonai, V'yim Masecha.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. הרחמים היטיב ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי נכבד ירושלים. כי לך לבד תעמדו, מלך עולם ונישא, אדון עולמים.
Okay, Ruth, I invite you to do your thing here. Thank you. We're in the second paragraph of page 96.
this morning.
Vayim
Aaron, Vayim Moshe, Adonai, Yafutzu Elecha, V'yavusu Misanecha,
מפניך, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, Israel, Kedushato.
We're on the top of page 97, and the first two lines, we're supposed to say 3 times. So we're going to do one time in Hebrew, one time in English. Or whatever. Thank you, yes. All right, ready? Adonai.
Adonai, Elahum v'chanun, Erech Apayim, v'rachesed v'emet, Noseh chesed v'afim, Noseh avon v'chesha, v'hata'ah v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, God merciful and compassionate, patient, abounding in love and faithfulness, assuring love for generations, forgiving iniquity, transgressions, and sin and rebellion.
We're going to hold in the middle of the page, 97. Va'ani tefilati l'chadonai ratzon. Va'ani tefilati l'chadonai ratzon. Elohim v'rosecha, ani v'yeshecha. Elohim v'rosecha, ani v'yeshecha. And I'd like to invite our Torah holder up, please.
Put one of these on the wall. Go. Okay. And then Miriam will hand you the Torah.
The Torah.
Yashikah, Ruth.
Okay, so just stay here for a minute. And this is call and response. So the first 2 lines, most of you seem to know davening, so you probably know this. I say, and then you repeat. And the third one we do together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'norah Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'norah Shemo.
Abu Adonai iti u'neramim Shemo yachad.
Adu Adonai iti, u'neramim Shemo yachad.
Lecha Adonai ha'gedulah v'ha'gevura v'ha'tiferet v'ha'netzah v'ha'hod ki kol hashamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai ha'mama v'ha'minaseh v'chol v'rosh Ramamu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu, v'hishtachavu, v'ha'adonai l'kadoshu. Ramamu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu, v'hishtachavu, Shakoah.
Well, I'm so glad you stayed with us.
Yeah.
It's great to hear.
And Shakoah to our wonderful Torah traveler too.
Nice, so Yashikoa, Miriam, thank you so much.
That's a
And
cool
Miriam, would you be
Miriam.
willing to stay up here and be our,
When I do that, should I keep it on?
you can keep it on. If you don't mind being the, you can be the Gabbai and or the Gabbai Shini, whatever role you want. I'm sorry?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can be sure you know the people who might be better.
Great, okay. And you, okay, because I don't even need to give you the full option, because it's right in there. That's right, okay, awesome. All right, so we were gonna turn now to page 100. 99 to 99 for now. Yazor Yagin Yoshira Hasumur Namar, Amen. Who would like to have an Aliyah today? Connie, are you willing?
Yes.
Great, all right, so we'll call Connie. Who else is willing to have an Aliyah? Arthur, maybe?
Okay.
Great, anyone else willing to have an Aliyah? Mel, would you like to have one? No, Bernie?
Bernie.
I may have to go upstairs.
Okay, so
Then
Bernie,
go
why don't you take
first.
the first one?
Okay.
That way, if you have to go, we haven't lost you. So, Ya'amod,
Baruch ben Shmuel.
Baruch ben Shmuel, Aliyah Rishona. And the rest, everyone else can turn now to the page, we are gonna be on page, Miriam, you can, maybe actually Miriam, I'll have Miriam tell us where we are.
Okay. 103, okay. Page 103.
And today we read from the part of the story, right, which, so the blessings are on page 199.
What page?
103.
103 is the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll read from the Akedah, right, the famous story of Isaac and Abraham. Right, and every time I read this story, it gives me the chills. And so reading it in the high holiday trope is even sort of spookier in a way, more emotionally affecting. So let's see how it goes today. Okay.
Baruch ben Adonai Hamarot.
Baruch
Adonai Hamelch Shalom Bled. Baruch Adonai Elohim Hamelch Haolam. Asher Tokarbonim Mikol Ha'olim B'Natzon Manu Esor So. Baruch Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen. Vayehi Achad Berihim Ha'ele V'Ha'Elohim Nisa et Abraham. Vayomer elav Abraham Vayomer Hineni Vayomer Kach na et mincha et yidcha asher ahavta et Yitzchak v'lech lecha el eretz hamoriyah v'alehu sham le'olam alecha al achad ha'arihim asher omar elecha. Is that right? No. Al achad ha'arihim asher amar elecha. Is that Asher Omar Elecha Ve'ashkem Abraham Baboker Vayachavosh et thank you, Kamoro Vayikach et Shnei Na'arav Vayikach et Shnei Na'arav Ito V'et Yitzchak Beno Vayivaka Atseola Vayakom Vayeled El Makom Asher Amar Lo Elohim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasamanu tzavas hanes v'chayo olam l'tadasatenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein hatov.
Amen. All right, so we'll call now, let's call Arthur up. And Bernie, you can stay here. Stay right over here.
Oh, you have to. Okay, good.
We'll keep a little bit apart. Okay, Arthur, just put your mask on, okay? All right, so now we're at which page? I think 104 now, right?
104.
104. Okay. I had it a second ago. There was. Right here. Oh. Yamod, Yitzchak,
and Beryl Vasara.
and Beryl Vasara Aliyah Shnia.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Eloheinu.
Baruch Adonai,
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Vayom HaShlishi. Vayisa Abraham et Einav vayar Tamakom Merako. Vayomer Abraham El Arav Shuvu lachem po imachem amrovan v'ani v'hana'a Nerchato v'nishtachaveh v'tashuva aleichem Vayikach Abraham et atzei ha'olam vayasem al Yitzchak vayasem al Yitzchak beno ויקח ידו את האיש ואת המאחרת וילכו שניהם יחדיו ויאמר יצחק אל אברהם אביו ויאמר אביו ויאמר הנני בני ויאמר הנה עשה והנה האש העצים ויעשה לעולם ויאמר אברהם אלוהים יראה לא עשה לעולם בני וילכו שניהם יחדיו
Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan v'chayehu v'tavzavein. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu Torah.
Amen. Bye-bye, and thank you so much for being with us.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Yes, Koach. You may sit down if you feel more comfortable. And you, I need your top set. You can take another one, buddy. Okay, so Connie, it's your turn. Talmud, Yashikov, to Bernie, Yashikov, to Arthur. Talmud, Grindel, Bat Tova Rachel B'Shmuel. Aliyah Shlishit. We are going to be on.
Hey, which page?
We're still on page 104, the second paragraph.
Okay, it's okay.
104.
Yeah. Second
That's
paragraph.
where I was.
You're in the right place.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayavo el hamakom asher amar lo Elohim. Vayiveh sham Abraham et hamizbeach vayavro et ha'etzim vayikod et Yitzchak beno וישם אותו על המזבח נאמר לעצים. וישלח אברהם את ידו ויקח את המאכלת לשחוט את בנו. ויקרא אליו מלאך אדוני מן השמיים ויאמר אברהם ויאמר הנני. ויאמר אל תשלח ידך אל הנער ואל תעש לו מאומה כי אתה ידעתי כי ירא אלוהים אתה ולא חשפת את בנך את יחידך ממני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashkoach. Beautiful. Beautiful, everyone. Okay, so just so we don't leave anybody hanging, oh, thank you. We will finish the story, right? So of course, we got to the climactic moment, right, where Abraham is just about ready, right, to reach and God forbid kill his son, right? And this amazing story from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, right, on the side of the page, right, saying that he was learning this story when he was 7 years old, right? And here it says towards the bottom of that paragraph, I broke out in tears, right, and wept aloud. And the rabbi asked, "Why are you crying? You know that Isaac was not killed." And I said to him, still weeping, "But Rabbi, supposing the angel had come a second too late." Right? And the rabbi comforted me and calmed me by telling me that an angel cannot come late. An angel cannot be late, but people made of flesh and blood can come too late. Right? So memory, right? That we have to be careful in these situations. So if you turn the page to 105, right, when Abraham looked up, his eye fell upon a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place Adonai Yireh, whence the present saying, on the mount of Adonai there is vision. So, right, and this again is one of the major themes of the two Torah portions that we read on Rosh Hashanah, Genesis 21 and 22, right? That these two sections are connected by this theme of vision, right? That people don't see things that are right in front of them, right? Until somehow God opens their eyes. There's some sort of way in which, and we've all had that experience, right? Where did I put my keys? Oh, they're right here in front of them, or I didn't see them, right? So from the sublime moments here in the Torah, right, where Abraham doesn't see the ram, right? He says God will see to the lamb, literally those words, right? And then and he is right? God actually did see the ram, but Abraham didn't notice that ram until he was this close, right, to sacrificing his own son. And a similar story in yesterday's reading, right, where Hagar is in the desert, but doesn't see the water that's available to her until she gives up So very, very powerful sort of moments of blindness and vision. All right, so I will, so at this point, we will make Misha Berach. So let's turn to page 115, I believe. And so people on the Zoom or people in the room, let's start with the Zoom.
173.
In the prayer book that we're in, Sadie, it's 115. If you have only the Shabbat prayer book, it's on page 173, right? If you have that in front of you. Okay. All right. So Eleanor, anyone to name for healing? Okay, Sandy. Sandy, do you want to say your daughter's name? No, for now.
Yes.
Great, go ahead.
Ellen Zuniga, Peter Stein, Elaine Skolnick, Rosemary and Yair Alroy, Alvin Glazerman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
My brother, Charles Whitaker.
Judy? Could you just see if those people are muted or not? All right, I can do it.
Yeah, Judy is muted. I just asked her to unmute.
Great, perfect. And Clarice also in Chanel, whose actual name is Carol. And Susan Cohen, go ahead.
Mary Kellerman, Gail Weisberg.
Great, thank you. And Carol, anybody, or Clarice or Judy, any of you like to say a name for healing?
Bernice Sandler.
Thank you. And who's on the phone with us today? Okay. All right. And in the room, anyone who is in need of healing, please, Connie?
My granddaughter Renee Sarah, Bat Shoshana Yirmiyahu, and Joel Savitz.
I just unmuted Rabbi Jim.
Well, go ahead, Judy. Go ahead, Judy.
Coco, Naomi Razel, Nedley Goldman, Faye Kravitz.
Thank you.
Gershon Ben Abraham Sarah.
Thank you. No? Anybody else? Okay, so Tamar, but Miriam. All right, so we're on page 115. Imoteno Sarah Rachel, Leah, ויברך את כל החולים, ויסיר מהם כל מחלה, וישלח במהרה רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש, ורפואת הגוף, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם, עם כל ישראל, ונאמר, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all those who are ill and remove from them any sickness. Send complete healing both in body and in spirit, and send blessing and good fortune to all the work of their hands, and to all the people of Israel, and to all people across the world. And let us say, Amen. Okay, so we will turn now back to page 106.
106.
106. And Mary, maybe you'll be Harba today. Is that okay?
Sure.
Great. And let's see. And Ruth Small, are you willing to do Leela? No? All right. So maybe Joyce, you'll do Leela. This is Joyce who's joining us to blow shofar for us. So I invite you to rise as Miriam lifts the Torah. Torah tzila lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzila lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Lanu Moshe.
That's my first time doing Hanbok.
Oh my
Can I say
gosh.
Shechianu?
Yes, absolutely.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kimanu v'hiyanu b'zman hazeh.
Amen.
First thing for the new year, new
That's
thing.
amazing. That's great. What a wonderful
And
thing.
the
This is
second
one.
day, you're
this is
supposed
one-
to have something new.
That's
Oh,
right.
thank you.
Well, this is one of the reasons I love this little Torah because
Do it.
people who are otherwise unable to lift the Torah, which, you know, when they weigh 50 pounds, right, or more, some of them weigh 70 pounds, right? It's not so easy to pick them up. This one weighs, as Miriam said, about the size of a new grandkid. So most of us can pick it up. Okay, wonderful.
Yes,
All right, so
okay.
we're going to switch now. And Joyce, you arrived at 8 Ratzon, right at the exact moment. So we're going to turn. I'm sorry?
Eze Yofi.
Eze Yofi, exactly. Perfect timing.
Just like the
It's really
angel,
wonderful. I'm sorry?
just like the angel.
Just like the angel, right? The angel can't be late. All right, so please turn to page 118 in our prayer book, and please join me in
102.
118.
Oh, okay.
118. So and we'll read together on the left-hand side of the page, the entry Gimel. So please join me. May the cry of the shofar shatter our complacency. May the cry of the shofar penetrate our souls. May the cry of the shofar break the bonds of all that enslaves us. May the cry of the shofar destroy every place at the forefront of our lives. May the cry of the shofar awaken us to how we have sinned. May the cry of the shofar summon us to a life of responsibility. May the cry of the shofar elicit the response, "Here I am." May the cry of the shofar remind us that we can be instruments of redemption. May the cry of the shofar penetrate our hearts. May the cry of the shofar bring blessing to us, to the people who hear its call. Okay, so give me one moment to find something. I don't know where I put it, but as soon as I find it, we'll be in business. There we go.
Rabbi, normally it's, the Shechianu is, I think, only the first day, but if they didn't hear a live Shechianu, should I do it?
Yes, I think we can do shut down too, exactly, it's just fine.
I'm not sure how the video worked out for you.
We actually ended up not needing to use it at the last minute, we had someone who
Really?
filled it in, so.
So we were up to like a quarter
We
to
were
2 in the morning.
doing all that work, but it's not lost because we have it on, we're putting it on all of the reels, so people have it if they need
Beautiful.
it. Yeah.
Also for people who couldn't come.
Exactly. People who needed it the last, people who didn't get
So
it at
people
all.
who weren't able to come,
Exactly.
they actually got
Right,
to hear.
exactly.
That's even better.
Even better, exactly. All right, so we're gonna turn to page 119. Allah Elohim Bitrua Adonai B'kol Shofar Zameru Elohim Zameru L'Malkeinu Zameru Ki Melech Kol Haaretz Elohim Zameru Maskil Malach Elohim 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 Yashav Akiseh Kodsho Nidivei Amim Nefsafu Am Elohei Abraham Ki Elohim Aginei Eretz Me'od Nahala. Okay, so traditionally we rise. And people.
Can I read them a psalm before?
Yeah, we're right. We're going to Mina Meitzar. So we rise here, and people can repeat after me each line. Feel free.
I wanted to do this before the Mincha Meitzah,
Yeah.
right before.
Yeah, we're on.
God has ascended with acclamation. The Lord ascends with the shofar blast. Sing our God, sing. Sing to our King, sing, for God is King of all earth. Sing praise with all your skill. God is King of the nations. God reigns on his holy throne. Psalm 47, 6, 9.
Okay, so now traditionally I will read, so that what Joyce just read in English is what I just chanted in Hebrew. And we will now be on the middle of page 119. I will read each of these lines in Hebrew. Feel free to repeat them in Hebrew if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, feel free also to repeat them in English. Either way is fine. Anani v'merchagya. Uli shamata al ta'alem uznecha le'rachati l'shavati. Rosh Hashanah emet u'olam pomishpat tzidkecha. Arov davdecha letzov ayashkuni zedim. Sas anochi Alimretecha kamot stel shalavra. Tov ta'am v'da'at lamdeni k'v'mitzvotecha hemanti. Nidevot piritzena Adonai u'mishpatecha la'amideni. Okay, so Joyce will read the two blessings here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu l'shmoa kol shofar.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'yanu b'zman hazeh.
Amen. Okay, you feel free to remain standing if it's comfortable for you, but at any moment it's uncomfortable, please do feel free to be seated. Tekiah, Shivarim Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim. Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim. Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim. Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah. Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah. Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah. Tekiah. Oh, yes. Straight, and this is on page 120. Straight Yodei Shua Adonai B'Yorbanecha Yalun kol yom udatecha yarumu. All right, so Yesha Kol, Joyce, thank you so much. Joyce will be back with more shofar blowing in just a minute, so don't worry if you didn't get enough. Traditionally, we have 100, we blow the shofar 100 times. Today, I think we'll probably only blow it 60 or 70 times. We're going to be slacking off. The way that it usually works is that we have the 30 blasts that Joyce just did. Then during the silent Amidah, which we will not be doing today, the rabbi will signal for the shofar blower to stop the kahal, and we blow 30 more times, 10 in each of the 3 special sections of the Amidah for Rosh Hashanah. The first one is called Malchuyot, right? God's kingship or sovereignty. You heard when Joyce read from the older Machzor, right? The number of kings that we heard, right? In our new Machzor, every time that word king comes up, instead we use sovereign today, right? This is more modern, right? So God's kingship.
Correct.
Yeah. Then the second one is called Zichronot, right? God's remembrance, right? This idea very important on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah, that God remembers everything, even the things we forget, right? And especially probably the things that we would like to forget, right? God remembers those, right? And then the third one, right? Shofarot, right? How does God appear to us in the world, right? And one of the big ways that God appears to us, right, is the shofar gadol, right? The big, loud shofar blast, right? But there are obviously all kinds of other ways that God makes God's presence known to us. So so each time we get to one of those sections in the Amidah, the rabbi stops and tells the Baal Tekiyah, right, or the Baalat Tekiyah to make more shofar blasts. Then in the reader's repetition, right, when those 3 blessings come along, there's another chance, 10 each time, right? So that's a total of 90. But wait, where do we get to the 100? Right? The 100th, the 10th set comes in the Kaddish Shalem that we do traditionally at the end.
At the end,
of
so there are
the-
only 2 Ketikvia Gedolot.
Right. So
One at the very beginning in the first 30.
Yeah.
That closes the first 30, and one at the end on the Kaddish Shalom.
Right. Although I think in this book, I don't know what it says in this book. If I'm not wrong, we'll see when we get there. That in the third of the Shofarot section that they ask for Tekiyah Gedolah in this book, but we'll see.
It's
We'll
only
see.
in the.
In this book might be different, right? It's like
Yeah.
every Machzor, of course, is going to be a little different, right? And of course, everyone who wrote the Machzor is going to say, "My way is the right way," and everyone else is doing it wrong. But we, of course, we mere mortals, not Machzor writers, need to decide how we're going
But how
to.
many ever will be awakened to
Exactly.
bring forth our sins and be honest about them and let them go before Yom Kippur.
That's right. That's right. So the shofar is to wake us up to all of that. Okay. So I'm going to invite Miriam to come back up here to return the Torah to the ark. And I think you can just carry it. I think our carrier has disappeared, so let's just have you carry it.
Okay, so on page 121. Double upstairs.
Exactly, double Machzor, right? They're all the Machzor we're used to, and then the Machzor we use before.
Yahavu Shem Adonai,
Hodo alaretz v'shamayim, vayarem kerem liyamo, tiva lecho chasidam, l'nei Yisrael, am keroho. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Mel, would you kiss the Torah?
So now we go to 123.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will turn now to the Musaf. You may be seated. And so we'll start on page 140, I think it's 140. The Hineni, which is this somewhat crazy prayer. And now, so Taylor, now you're gonna need to go back and switch to the next new one, which is RH Musaf.
Is you gonna walk in from the outside?
I'm sorry?
Aren't you gonna walk in from the outside?
Oh, yeah, I can do that, sure, I've never done that, but why not? Why not? I'll do anything, just for the fun of it.
See this?
All right, I'm sorry?
Did you see this? This is for women? I'm surprised.
Well, again, this is one of those differences when the Machzor that Miriam and Joyce brought in
This is a
was
new one.
published, that was the 70s. There were no conservative rabbis who were women. And so there was no possibility when that book was published that there could ever be a Hineni, at least in a conservative synagogue, sung by a woman. And I don't think that in Reform synagogues they use the Hineni. So there was never a call, right, for a female version of it. And actually, it's funny, this is actually an interesting story, so I have
Read it in English.
well, I have a woman, there's a woman in our other congregation, Cantor Lois Welber, who learned to sing it, and she learned to sing it with the masculine nouns, right, and the masculine verbs, and just never, and so now that there's a feminine version, she doesn't bother with it. She still uses the
Well, she
because that's the one she's.
to traditional communities.
Exactly. So here I stand, impoverished in merit, trembling in the presence of actually, I'll walk in saying that one, but I won't try to walk and sing at the same time. That's probably not a good idea. All right, so here I stand, impoverished in merit, trembling in the presence of the one who hears the prayers of Israel. Even though I am unfit and unworthy for the task, I come to represent your people Israel and plead on their behalf. Therefore, gracious and merciful one, awe-inspiring God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, I pray that I might successfully seek compassion for myself and for those who send me. Right, a very important word, shalachoni, right? That because the person who's reading the prayers is called the shaliach tzibur, right? The representative, the emissary, the representative, the agent, right, of the public, of the kahal, so anyway, very interesting. So I'll sing this, and then.
Would that emissary have been a Levi?
Sorry?
Would the emissary have been a Levi?
I don't think that necessarily, yeah. All right, so here we go. Oh, sorry, I started too high. Let's start low. יושב תהילות ישראל. באתי לעמוד ולהתחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל אשר שלחוני. אף על פי שנכדיי הגון לך, לכן אבקש ממך, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, אלוהי לאה, אדוני אדוני, רחום וחנון, אלוהי ישראל, שדי היום ונורא, אהיה נא מציל לך דרכי, אשר אני הולך לעמוד, ולבקש רחמים עליי ועל שולחי. So we'll turn, we'll go down to we'll go down to the last paragraph here. V'ratzon melefanecha Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VaHaNorah, Elyon, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, שכל המלאכים שמעלה תפילות יביאו תפילתי לפני כיסא תפילותיך ויציגו אותה לפניך עבור כל הצדיקים והחסידים תמימים והעשירים ובעבור כבוד שמך הגדול והנורא, כי אתה שומע תפילת עמך ישראל ברחמים, ברוך אתה שומע תפילה. All right, so we will turn now to page 143. And so what we're going to do today is highlights of Musaf. So we already did the first two blessings of the Amidah earlier today, so we won't repeat them. We'll go directly to the parts of Musaf that we did not get to do before, which is Untitled Chapter, right on page 143, right, which is a very intense prayer, right, and is really very much about how much we don't know about the future, right? I think it's much less, although there's lots of scary images of God here, right? It's much less that we are at the whim of God. It's that we just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the world is going to be, right? And that's one of the most difficult things about our existence. And as I've heard from many people, including myself, this year on Rosh Hashanah, that this year seems particularly hard. Every year, it's difficult to look at this prayer and sort of recognize, right, the depths of us not knowing. But in a year, right, 18 months now we've been in this pandemic, it feels like it's Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur every day, right? We don't know on a daily basis, we don't know who's going to live or who's going to die. It's not that that's ever not true, but we generally don't have it directly in front of our faces, except for during the 10 days of Tshuva, right? But it feels like we're always in that place. So this year, it sort of gives us an opportunity to really say, okay, we are living in this reality now, and how are we going to live? How are we going to make it possible for us to continue lives of meaning, lives full of love and connection, despite the fact that there's so many forces around us keeping us from that meaning and keeping us from those connections. So that's what we'll be focusing on today as we go through the Untitled Chapter. So please, as you are able, please rise, because we will be opening the Ark in a few moments. And Joyce, maybe I'll ask you to open the ark in just a moment. If you're in the, there's a little red rubric that says where to do it. And the ark is open. Vaykom b'chesed kis'echa v'teshev ala ha'emet emet ki ata urayan u'mochiach v'yodea וחותם, וסופר, ומונה, ותזכור כל הנשתחות, ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות, ומאליו יקברא, וחותם יד כל אדם. ושופר גדול ייתקע, וכל דממה דקה יישמע, ומלאכים יחפזון, וחיל רע יוחזון, ויאמרו הנה יום הדין, לפקוד על צבא מרום בדין, כי לא יזכור עיניך בדין, וכל העולם תעביר לבניך, כבני מרון, כי בטהרה רואה את רוב, מעביר צאנו, תחת שבטו, כן תעביר, לתספור, לתמנה, ותפקוד נפש כל חי, ותחלוק קצבה, לכו בריאה, ותכתוב את גזר דינם. בראש השנה יקטנו, וביום צום כיפור יחתנו. בראש השנה יקטנו, וביום צום כיפור יחתנו. כמה יעברו וכמה יבריאו, מי יחיה ומי ימות, מי בקיצור ומי לא בקיצור. בראש השנה יקטנו, וביום צום כיפור יחתנו. בראש השנה יקטנו, וביום צום כיפור יחתנו. מי באש ומי במים, מי בחרב ומי בחיה, מי ברעב ומי בצמא. בראש השנה יקטנו, וביום צום כיפור יחתנו. בראש השנה יקטנו, וביום צום כיפור יחתנו. מי ברעש ומי במגפה, מי בחניקה ומי בסקילה. בראש השנה יקטנו, Ubiyom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun, Berosh Hashanah Yikatemun, Ubiyom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun, Mi yanuach u'mi yanuach, mi yishaked u'mi yitared, mi yishalem u'mi yityasar, mi yani u'mi yasher, mi yishama u'mi yarum, u'tshuva u'tefillah u'tzedakah, ma'amirin et roach gezerah. But tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny. So we continue on the top of page 144.
So Rabbi, think about all those just now, by fire, by floods, by earthquakes, by
100%.
hunger, by plague, by
Right.
everything, right there.
Right, and we don't, at the beginning of last year, right, we didn't know that Hurricane Ida was gonna come, right? There's so many things, just the basic insecurity of our lives, right? And looking to the rock of our faith, and however we understand it, right? That, that we still have reason and connections that make it possible for us to live, despite the fact that there are all these unknowns in our lives. Ki keshimcha en dilatecha kasher lechutz v'nofetzu ki lo tachutz b'mot amen ki im b'shuvo midarko v'chaya v'ad yom otzot tefakelo im yashuv miyad tekabelo. Emet, emet, ki ata hu yitzrah, v'ata yodeh yitzrah, ki im basar adam yisodo me'afar v'sofar le'afar b'nafsho yavi lachmo b'nafsho yavi lachmo mashu kecheres hanishba kechatzir yavesh uchtzitz nover ketzel over v'chanan kala Ruach noshavet uchavat poreach v'chachalon yahu yatzahu melech el chai v'kayam. Please join me in the middle of page 144. Each person's origin is dust, and each person will return to the earth, having spent life seeking sustenance. Scripture compares human beings to a broken shard, withering grass, a shriveled flower, a passing shadow, a fading cloud, a fleeting breeze, scattered dust, a vanishing dream. And you are the sovereign living God, ever present. Your years never end, your time has no measure. The extent of your glory can never be imagined. For there is no understanding of the mystery of your nature. Your name befits you as you befit your name, and you have linked our name with yours. So we close the ark. We turn now to page 153. This is where we begin to prepare for the final three, or the special three brachas in our Amidah. And someone's having a conversation out here, so close.
Bernie, boy, people have dropped off. A few people went to.
And so these are the special ones where we actually prostrate ourselves and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I invite you to read with me. The congregation actually makes a kind of a plea, sort of like the Hineni at the beginning of the Musaf, where the cantor says, "Oh yeah, what am I taking onto myself?" Right now, the congregation is like, "Oh, maybe we chose badly." So let God help this guy or help this woman who's doing this for us. We're sending them forward to do this. So please give them the power, the strength to do it. So the congregation recites and then I will respond. So go ahead. Our God and God of our ancestors, we have page 153 in the middle. Our God and God of our ancestors, be with the messengers of your people Israel, as they stand praying for the ability to plead before you on our behalf. Teach them what to say, inspire them in their speech, respond to their requests, instruct them how to properly glorify you. May they walk in the light of your presence and bend their knees to you. May your people be blessed through the words of their mouths, and may all find blessing through the blessings in your mouth. Okay, so I will sing this down to you. Oh, Chilalae, Achale, Panecha, Eshala mimenu, Ma'ale lashon, Asher bikala, Ashira fuzo, Abirano, Bi'ad nifalav. L'adam arachelem, Adonai mana lashon, Adonai sevatai divta, uviagiti latecha, Ichyu l'ratzon imrefi, Begyon levi levanecha, Adonai tzari, v'go'ali. All right, so we will turn to page 154 for the Aleinu. And this is the one where we prostrate. Feel free to rise if you're able, and I'm going to ask you not to prostrate. Don't get down on the ground because I don't want to have to get you up again.
Right.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol lateh Yedula liyotzeh bereshit shelo asanu kagoye haratzot V'lo zamanu kamishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'goraleinu kechol amonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtacharim u'modim Lifnei Hamelech Hamalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Luckily, we get to do the rest of it silently. So we continue on page 156. May you soon rule over them forever and ever, for true dominion is yours. You will rule in glory until the end of time. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'le'bit amen v'yakov, v'le'ra'ama v'Yisrael, Adonai Elohei Elohim Utru Melech Bo. God does not gaze upon the sins of Jacob nor look upon the heirs of Israel. Adonai, their God, is with them. Their sovereign's acclaim is in their midst. Lift up high, O you gates, lift up the eternal doors, so that the sovereign of glory may enter. Who is the sovereign of glory? Adonai, mighty and valiant, Adonai, mighty in battle. Lift up high, O you gates, lift up the eternal doors, so that the sovereign of glory may enter. Who is the sovereign of glory? Adonai Tzebaot is the sovereign of glory forever. In the middle of page 157. ובתורתך כתוב לאמור, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. אלוהינו ולבותינו, מלוך על כל העולם כולו, לכבודך, להינשא על כל הארץ ביקרך, להופע בהר גאון עוזך, על כל יושבי תבל ארצך, וידע כל ברור, כי אתה פעלותו, ויבין כל יצור, כי אתה יצרתו, ויאמר כל אשר נשמה, ויפול אדוני אלוהי ישראל מלך ומלכותו בכל משלה. אלוהינו ולאבותינו, קדשנו מצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך. וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, כי אתה אלוהים אמת, ודברך אמת, וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, ביום הזיכרון. So turn to page 158, and we'll invite Joyce to blow shofar with us again. Tekiah, shivering teruah. Tekiah, Tekiah, shivering. Tekiah, Tekiah, teruah. Tekiah, Hayom, Hayom, Harat Olam, Harodya Amid Bamishpat, Kol Yitzurei Olamim, Im Kevanim, Im Ka'avadim, Im Kevanim, Rachamenu, Kerachem Avadim, Ve'im Ka'avadim Einenu, Lecha Tzeloyot, Ad Shetechonenu V'totzi Charo, Nishpatenu Hayom Kadosh. Reshet Sifratenu Yarav Lefanecha, El Rav Nisa. Reshet Sifratenu Yarav Lefanecha, El Rav Nisa. Ne'min ma'azim ma'abitu makshib lekol tekikatenu, Udkafer v'rachamim v'ratzon tzevavol yotenu. All right, so we'll turn to page 160. Tazochem ma'aseh olam ufoked kol yitzurei kedem. You remember the deeds of the world, and you are mindful of your creatures since the beginning of time. Before you stands revealed all that is hidden in every mystery from the moment of creation. Nothing is forgotten in your awe-inspiring presence. Nothing concealed from your gaze. We go down to the bottom of this page. Did you not lovingly remember Noah when you brought the floodwaters, destroying all flesh because of their evil deeds? Did you not assure him with words of salvation and compassion? So his memory, Adonai our God, came before you, and his descendants became as numerous as the dust of the earth, and his children like the sand of the sea. ככתוב בתורתך, ויזכור אלוהים את נוח ואת כל החיה ואת כל הבהמה אשר איתו בטבע, יעבר אלוהים רוח על הארץ, ויסקו המים. So we'll take a second, a few moments to look over these pieces that are in on page 161. I remember my covenant with Jacob. I will remember also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the lands. You will proclaim to Jerusalem, thus said Adonai, I remember the affection of your youth, your love when we were betrothed, when you followed me in the wilderness, a barren land. I will always remember the covenant I made with you in the days of your youth, and establish it with you as a covenant that will last forever. Is not Ephraim, my dear son, my precious child, whom I remember fondly, even when I speak against him? So my heart reaches out to him, and I always feel compassion for him, declares Adonai. And that little piece of Jeremiah is actually from the Haftarah for today, for the second day of Rosh Hashanah. So even though we did not read the Haftarah today, we have a little piece of it, the most important piece of God's familial, sort of parental connection with Israel. Haven Yakili, Yakili Israel, Im Yeled Shashuim, Kimide Dabri Bozachor Esterenu. Al ken hamu me'aylo, rachem arachamenu, ne'um Adonai. Eloheinu ve'Eloteinu, zofreinu v'zichron lefatnecha, u'choveinu b'nkudat Yeshua, Rachamim B'Shimei Shemei Kedem, for our sake, remember your loving relationship with us, the covenant and the promise you made to Abraham and Mount Moriah. Hold before you the image of our ancestor, binding his son Isaac on the altar. When he overcame his compassion in order to obey your command wholeheartedly. Now allow your compassion to overcome your anger at us, and in your great goodness reconcile yourself to your people, your city, and your land. Fulfill for us the words of your promise contained in your Torah, transmitted by your servant Moses from your glorious presence, as it is written. וזכרתי להם ברית ראשונים אשר הוצאתי אותם מארץ מצרים לעיני הגויים להיות להם אלוהים, אני אדוני. כי זוכר כל הנשתחות עצרו מעולם, ואין שכיחה לפני כיסא כבודך. ועקדת יצחק לזרעו היום היום, לזרעו היום, ברחמים תזכור. ועקדת יצחק לזרעו היום היום, לזרעו היום, ברחמים תזכור. ברוך אתה אדוני זוכר הברית. So we're on page 162, and we'll ask Joyce to pick up her shofar one more time, or actually, no, this is maybe several more times. So.
It's only 16 this one.
Right.
The other one is.
Well, let's get. I'm a little bit worried about time, so let's.
Okay.
Yeah. Page 162. Kia. Shivering Teruah. Kia.
I'll repeat it.
Okay, Shivering Teruah. Kia. Kia. Green. Kia. Kia. Teruah. Kia. Thank you. Join me, please. Today, the world stands as at birth. Today, all creation is called to judgment, whether as your children or as your servants. If as your children, be compassionate with us, as a parent is compassionate with children. If as your servants, we look to you expectantly, waiting for you to be gracious to us. And as day emerges from night, bring forth a favorable judgment on our behalf, awe-inspiring and holy one. May the words of our lips be pleasing to you, exalted God, who listens, discerns, considers, and attends to the sound of our shofar blast. Lovingly accept our offering of verses proclaiming your remembrance. All right, so we will turn now to page 164. You revealed yourself in a cloud of glory to speak to your holy people, allowing them to hear your voice from heaven. Through a pure mist, you disclosed yourself in the whole world. Everything quivered in your presence. All of creation trembled in awe as you, our sovereign, made yourself known on Mount Sinai, teaching your people Torah and mitzvot. You speak to them from amidst fiery flames, allowing them to hear your majestic voice and your sacred words. Revealed yourself to them amidst thunder and lightning, and appeared to them with the sounding of the shofar. V'hi b'yom hashlishi b'chyot v'bocher v'hi kolot uvrachim v'anan kaved al ha'ar v'kol shofar chazak me'od. So we will turn now to page 165 in the middle of the third section. And your servants, the prophets, further wrote, for on that day a great shofar will be sounded. Those lost in the land of Assyria and those cast away from the land of Egypt shall come back and worship Adonai on the holy mountain in Jerusalem. And we'll turn now to page 166. Eloheinu Eloheinu Tekah b'shofar gadol lecherutenu v'sanis lekabetz galuyotenu ka'areh v'zurenu miben hagoyim uvutotenu me'echanes mi'archetei haaretz v'habienu l'tzion irecha b'rina v'Yerushalayim be'mikdashecha b'simchat olam v'sham na'aseh lefanecha et kavonot kavotenu kim suva aleinu b'toratecha Ayedei Moshe Abdecha Mipi Chevodecha Kamor Uvyom Simchatchem Umoadechem Urashi Chodshechem Udkatem Bachatzrot Alo Beitechem Ve'al zivchei shamechem Ve'hayu lachem lezikaron Lifnei Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Ki ata shomea kol shofar Umazin teruah Ve'en domelach Baruch atah Adonai Shomea kol teruah le'amo Yisrael Berachamim. mishpat, kol yitzurei olamim, im kevanim, im kavadim, im kevanim akamenu, kerachem avanim, ve'im kavadim eineinu, lecha teluyot, עד שתכוננו ותוציא כאור משפטנו היום קדוש. הרשת שפתנו ירם לפניך אלם ונישא. הרשת שפתנו ירם לפניך אלם ונישא. מבין ומזיק, מעביד ומקשיב לכל תקיקתנו, ותקבל ברחמים וברצון סדר שופרותינו. Okay, so we're going to turn now to page 169. Okay. 169, let's see here if I can find where I belong over here.
Kohanim,
Oh, okay.
I believe Kohanim.
Eloheinu Eloheinu Barecheinu B'Torah Mishuleshet B'Torah K'tuba Yedei Moshe Avdecha Ha'amura Miti Aharon Ubanav Kohanim Am Kidushecha Kamu Yivarechecha Adonai V'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Ke'is Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Sim shalom tova u'bracha v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barecheinu Avinu kulanu ke'echad b'or panecha, ki b'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu Torat chaim v'yavat chesed, u'tzedaka u'bracha, v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom v'tov b'einecha, levarech et amecha Yisrael b'kol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום. Sorry, let's start again. I got completely lost that. No, boy. Sefer Chaim Baracha V'Shalom U'Parnasa Tova Nizacher V'Nitatel Lefanecha Anachnu V'Chol Amecha Israel, לחיים טובים, לחיים טובים, ושלום, ונאמר, כי ירבו ימיך, ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים, לחיים טובים תכתבנו, אלוהים חיים, כותבנו בספר החיים, ככתוב, ואתם הדבקים, ואתם הדבקים, ואתם הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם היום. And we open up the ark for Hayom, which is found on page 170. Hayom, Hayom, Hayom. We rise as we able. Hayom, Hayom, Hayom. Hayom, 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 Hayom. Hayom, 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 Hayom. Hayom, Hayom, Hayom. תארצנו, אמן. היום, 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 היום תברכנו, אמן. היום, 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 היום תגדלנו, אמן. היום, 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 היום תדרשנו לטובה, אמן. היום, 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 תגדלנו לחיים טובים, אמן. היום, 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 תקבל ברחמים ורצון את תפילתנו, אמן. היום, 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 תשמע שבתנו, אמן. היום, 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 תברכנו בגליל, Amen. You may be seated as we close the ark. On a day like this, bring us joyfully to the fullness of redemption, as your prophet Isaiah said, I shall bring you to my holy mountain and make you joyous in my house of prayer. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. ותהיה לנו לכל ישראל ולכל ישבצת. Oh, sorry, I'm going to start that again because the words here are slightly different than what I have in my other book. וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום יהיה לנו ולכל ישראל עד העולם. ברוך אתה אדוני All right, and you'll see that our seventh set of, we won't do the Kaddish Shalem because we didn't do a Chatzi Kaddish, but we will say a final, if Joyce, you're willing, do a final round of shofar blasts to found on page 171.
You're not gonna do the top?
Sorry?
You're not gonna do the Yiskadal?
No, we won't do that because we didn't do a full Anita, we were just doing highlights. So we will just do just the shofar blasts. Tekiah, Shivarim Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah. Very nice.
Yeah. Yofi.
Beautiful. So page 173, we rise as we are able for the Elena. Alleluia. שלא עשנו רצון, ולא שמנו כמשלחת אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו קיים, וגורלנו ככל העולם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נותן שמיים ויסוד הארץ, ושנקרא בשמיים ושכינת זו ושכינת זו וגובה אלוהים ולאלוהים אלוהינו אל מפלגנו ותפוצותו כתבנו בתורתו ידעתנו ידעתנו ישיבותו אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים נראה ויארץ ויארץ מתחת כן, נפל לך אדוני אלוהינו, וירד נתיב שיצא. כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. So Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 174. If anyone is in mourning or commemorating a yard site, please feel free to share the name of the person you're remembering. Okay, and so we will instead just say Kaddish for all of those who have passed away in recent times. This year, of course, was a very heavy year. So many unnecessary deaths. So we are humbled, of course, that we are still able to be alive and to hallow God's name. Please rise if it is your custom to rise and say Kaddish for those who have never said Kaddish for them. Yikadam, Yikadash, Shemir Rabban. Yamad, Yirah, Yamlech, Malchus. V'chayechon v'nechon, v'chayidecho beit Yisrael. V'galav b'zman kafir b'mram. Yehei shmecha v'lalam v'yei. Yiparach v'yishtabach, Yipa'ar v'tumam v'yisrael. V'tadar v'taleh v'talal shmei v'kusha. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'necham. Damiran b'lama v'mram.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleichem, v'po Yisrael.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'namav, u'yaseh shalom aleinu, v'po Yisrael.
Amen.
All right, so we're going to turn back now to page 27. So thank you again, everyone. Great gratitude to Ruth, Ruth for being here, to the Ruths for being here, but I wanted to say to Miriam, for coming and doing the Torah service in Gabay and doing Haggadah for the first time. What an honor that you did that for the first time with us. Oh my gosh, so amazing. Thank you so much to Taylor for coming and helping out with all the tech. So grateful that I didn't have to try to do that and lead the service at the same time. Just such an amazing gift on the high holidays. And thank you also to Joyce for coming and blowing shofar for us. So lovely to be able to have that. So we will end with Psalm 27. We will sing the part that is in red in the transliteration and bold in the Hebrew. But before we sing, I'll say the final little verses of this psalm, which are
What page was that again?
page 27. Page 27. And I think, Taylor, you're stuck.
I'm stuck, yeah.
I think you're stuck. Yeah.
Oh, well.
So if only I could trust that if you're really fast, you could open up you'd have to know that's not, it is in the morning service, but a different page, so forget it.
No, just be
If
stuck.
only I could trust that I would see God's goodness in the land of the living. Place your hope in Adonai. Be strong, take courage, and place your hope in Adonai. Adonai All right, Shana Tova, everybody.
Shana Tova.
Tuka, so wonderful to have you here. If you're around in 1550, I know that I think most of the people on the call are somewhere else, but if you're here at 1550, feel free to join us now. We're gonna go outside if we can find a little bit of bread. We're gonna go outside and do chashlik. If we can't find bread, we'll still go outside and do chashlik. It'll just be sort of more.
Get something?
It's up to you. We can just do it. We probably shouldn't throw bread into anything anyway, so.
We can throw it into the little fountain.
Well, I don't wanna throw any bread in the fountain, because the fountain will get clogged. So we can throw leaves, or we can just throw symbolic sins in there, so. All right, so Shana Tova, everyone. Thanks again to everyone for joining us. So great to see everybody. And,
you've been already admitted to your sins over the year, and now you're throwing them into the water.
exactly. All right. So